Sword of the Sea was made by the same devs who made Journey and Abzu. With that, you probably have a good picture of what the game's going to be like. Atmospheric art, subdued vibe, minimalistic storytelling, short and sweet overall experience. If that's what you're expecting, you'd be right. I'll cut to the chase and say, I really enjoyed the experience Sword of the Sea provided in the short time I had with it, and I recommend this to anyone out there who is on the fence about getting it, or to someone who might be interested in a serene yet impactful experience. You play as the Wraith, who wakes up in the ruins in the middle of a vast, desolate desert. The Wraith wakes up from what seems to be a long dormant state, and immediately wields the sword they were holding and uses it as a magical hoverboard. You set out, sword surfing, in order to bring life back to the barren desert. The premise sounds simple enough, but it's how the story is told that the devs known for Journey show their unique flavor. A lot of the story is told in a more subtle, indirect way. You get most of the story from these stone carvings that you'd find across the different areas in the game. While it's a great way to engage yourself in the interesting world Sword of the Sea throws you in, it's pretty hard to understand what's going on if you don't find these stone tablets scattered throughout the map, which I guess makes for a good incentive to explore. Even if you do find them, that's just the beginning. Each tablet is just a piece of the puzzle. You'll still have to put them together in a way that makes sense. Will you understand the story even if you don't find these bits of lore scattered across the game? Well, maybe. You might get the gist of it, but you'll be left with a lot of questions. Who am I? Who is that? What is that? Why are we here? Just to suffer? You know, those kinds of questions. The game also excels at sparking your curiosity. Since the story is told in a more subtle way, there's also a lot of environmental storytelling at play here. Just surfing around will get your inner historian/archaeologist all giddy. You see all these buildings and you wonder what this is all for. Where are all the people? You see these huge husks of what looked like something that used to be alive and you wonder what happened to them. What happened here? The game is fairly short, and some part of me wishes that they allotted more time to explore the interesting world that they've built, but another part of me knows that the mystery is part of the appeal. It's this balancing act of showing enough but not too much that it ruins the, well, mystery. In a way, it's a little similar to the should I show the monster problem in horror. Show too much and it's not scary anymore. The gameplay is actually pretty simple, for better or worse. The game is mostly an exploration/collection game. You surf across the land, solving puzzles, unlocking doors, finding secrets, and uncovering new paths that will lead you forward. The puzzles are pretty rudimentary to the point that they're barely puzzles. While we would have loved to have harder gameplay and more brain cell activating puzzles, the minimalist gameplay allows you to focus on the atmosphere, the vibe, the stunning visuals, and the environment that wants to tell its story. I imagine the devs found out that they couldn't create the vibe that they wanted to go for if players were constantly scratching their heads, wondering how the hell this puzzle worked. On the other hand, to complement the vibe that they were going for, they focused on making the surfing a fluid and intuitive experience. A huge part of the game is taking in the environment, so what better way to facilitate that than making your movement as smooth an experience as you can? You know how in some games, while you're going from place to place, you tend to find some way to entertain yourself, like bunny hopping along the way or walking in weird ways? Or is that just me? Well, since there's a lot of space in between places of interest in Sword of the Sea, the devs found a way to integrate that into the gameplay with tricks. The tricks that you can do on your hoverboard are basically that. It's a way to entertain yourself while exploring and moving around. At the end of the game, you also find that they've been tracking everything you do on your hoverboard and giving it a score. By the time you reach New Game Plus, they'll give you a score tracker on the UI so you can actually see it in real time. You can also get new tricks when you collect these things you'll find all around the map. Once you've gathered them, you bring it to this guy, gather enough of them, and you get a new trick. There are also mini games scattered around where you can earn said currency once you rack up enough points within a certain time limit. You gain points by chaining your tricks together while surfing around a designated area. Remember that thing we said about the game sparking curiosity earlier? Well, gameplay also does a good job of that. There are a lot of things that you'll find around the map, and the game doesn't outright tell you what to do with them. So once you find out, oh, this thing does this when I do that, it makes you want to find more of those things to see what they do, as well as other things that the game might not be telling you about. This also naturally leads to a desire to actually play New Game Plus, because you may have found out that this thing does something a little later into the game, and you might think, man, I probably missed a lot of these things earlier, and I want to see what you can do now that you're more familiar with the game. It reminds me of older games that don't outright tell you about certain gameplay mechanics and you just kinda have to figure it out yourself by poking around. I think it's fairly engaging and further emphasizes the game's exploration aspects. The visuals of the game were definitely something the devs put a lot of time and effort into because it's absolutely stunning. The environments are crafted with a minimalist yet highly creative design philosophy, blending the depths of the ocean, vast stretches of sand, and icy landscapes into a cohesive and striking open world. Again, I keep saying this because it's really what stood out to me throughout the game. But the environment really pushed me to explore more because I found the ruins and vast desert so intriguing. This careful balance of scale and restraint not only reinforces Giant Squid's artistic vision, but also cements their reputation for creating worlds that evoke awe while remaining spiritually resonant. The game's audio design is deliberately understated, complementing the serene beauty of its world. Rather than leaning on bombastic compositions, the soundtrack relies on subdued piano melodies and sparse notes that create a sense of space and calm. And when the music does go into a more impactful, intense state, it's further emphasized because of the contrast with how subdued it usually is. This minimalist approach enhances the atmosphere, allowing the environments themselves to breathe while enforcing the game's meditative tone. It's an audio direction that prioritizes subtlety over spectacle, yet achieves a profound emotional impact. Sword of the Sea was quite the experience. It did an amazing job of luring you into its world with its design, gameplay, music, and minimalist storytelling. The hover sword surfing is really fun, fluid, and intuitive. The game just looks beautiful and it made me want to see more of it, but it's also really short, so that wish doesn't really get fulfilled. It's not gonna be a game for everyone. A short game for $30 isn't going to be a good sell for most people. Sure, it's got New Game Plus and a lot of replayability if you want to, but if you didn't like the base game in the first place, you're not gonna play it again. It's not action-packed, it's not a long RPG experience, but for someone looking for an atmospheric, serene, lose yourself in a beautiful world type of experience, Sword of the Sea is exactly what you're looking for. And we're giving it a solid 90. That's it from us, but what about you? Are you planning on picking Sword of the Sea up? Did you play Journey back then? Do you find value in short gaming experiences? Tell us in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Like if you liked, subscribe for more video game reviews and video game related content. This has been Game 8, and we hope to see you in the next video.